What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're checking out something brand new. It's a game called Screamer. It's coming out soon, and I get to take you through everything in this game. I'm pretty excited to do that. Let's go. Real quick before we get into it, shout out to Milestone for letting me have this early access with the game. I really appreciate it. They've been very kind to invite me to these type of things, so really appreciate it. Thumbs up to those guys. Let's get into it, man. First of all, I think this video is better if it's just left as an informational video, not necessarily a review or any type of opinions on this sort of thing. I just want to give you basically a rundown of what the game is, what the gameplay loop is, what the feature set is, and how everything sort of works, because I think that allows you guys to make your own opinions once you see everything the game has to offer. And to be honest with you, it's kind of a lot. I mean, there is so much jam-packed in this game. It's pretty incredible. So anyway, that's the last opinion that I'm going to give. Let's get into it, man. Let's start off with the single player experience, because that is the core of this game. The core of this game is the tournament. The tournament is the campaign, and this game sits atop a very heavily narrative driven campaign. It is sort of anime inspired. It's got this heavy story, and when I say it's heavily narrative driven, it is heavily narrative driven. It is a story game, but with racing, if that makes any sense. It's centered around a competition that's being put on by this billionaire for billions of dollars as your reward, and your team of 3 is entering this tournament. It's got a lot of like secondary storylines along with it. The tournament itself is sort of the competition where everybody meets, but without spoiling anything, there's a vendetta that your team has against another person in the tournament because of the death of a friend. And we'll just leave it there because I don't want to spoil anything. You guys, if you're going to experience this game, you'll go through it yourself. Now, the story is delivered in both written form at the bottom of the screen, and it also has a voiceover as well. And it also has some cutscenes. And those cutscenes are saved into like an archive that you can actually go in and access and replay whenever you want. It's a really nice way to sort of pay homage to the story itself. This is a story that clearly they've worked really hard on, and the delivery method is sort of what you would expect with this sort of game. So if you're looking for a single player experience with a story in a racing game, this definitely has that for you. Now, in the limited amount of story that I got to play, it was basically the prologue plus like a little bit, sort of the tutorial, if you will. There was a lot of narrative, like a lot. I spent a lot of time listening to the story and sort of the whole world being set up for you. And that makes sense because at the beginning of the story, you kind of have to establish the context of, you know, why you're racing, what the world is, the whole setup of things, why you can KO people. And we'll get into that in just a moment. But there's a lot of like little like, let's give context to the world first and have the player understand exactly what the purpose is and how you drive the car, and all of that stuff kind of gets shoved into those early episodes, which is what we got to play. And so I get the feeling that as the story progresses, it's going to be a lot more about the racing and the gameplay more so than the story, but obviously they'll work the story into it. Again, haven't finished it yet, but I feel like that's kind of the way it gets flipped, sort of right where we ended, which is kind of like the prologue, so to speak. So anyway, the game's main pillar for sure is the tournament. It is the single player experience, and it's the marquee feature in the game. But that's not where it stops. There's a lot of game modes that are like feature packed into this game. So let's talk about first the arcade. The arcade is where you're going to find basically all of your regular racing. You've got race, you got team race, you've got overdrive challenge, checkpoints, time attack, and score challenge. Let's go through each one of them so you understand what these modes are all about. The race is exactly that. It is a race. You can choose 3 different types of races. There's a free-for-all, which is every individual character against another one. You have the leaders, which are the leaders of the teams, the various teams that are in this game, and then you have the members of those teams. So you basically get to select whether you want basically a free-for-all, which allows you to pick a bunch of different characters. As you can see here, these are the ones that I've unlocked so far. And by the way, I didn't mention this about the story campaign, but this game has a lot of like fighting mechanics that are in this. As you can see, the character selection screen sort of gives you that same type of thing. Tells you a description on the bottom left of like what that character is good at, what their car is capable of, what types of perks and little benefits that they get while you're driving, things like that. And there's a lot of fighting that happens. Now, these are divided into the teams. You can see a team of 3 right here, these guys. Then you have a team of 3 right here, and then a team of 3 here, but another team up here on the left and another team over here. So basically, if you want the leader of the team, that's the person in the middle here, or you have the members on the side. So that's basically your 3 options. You have free for all, it's just 1 v1, 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 however many people are in the race. And then you have the leaders, you're just playing as the leaders, the members, you're just playing as the members. You can also customize your experience. You can create a complete custom experience and then save that as a profile for a type of race that you want to do. Now, again, this is all like single. This is not multiplayer yet. We'll get into that in a little bit, but you have all kinds of options here. Number of laps, the roster, meaning the people that you're playing against. If you want to have like duplicates, duplicate people, the number of competitors, and then you've got all of these modifiers that you can activate or deactivate to really customize the race, you know, the way you want to play it. You can play it just like this. So the game really allows you to do that if you want to. Let's back out and go to team race. Team race is exactly that. So you're going to be playing in a duo or a trio. Again, this is you with 2 computer players or 1 computer player against the AI. So it's just a team situation. You get scored as a team in these events. It's basically the same type of an event like a race, but with points for taking people down and things like that. So with that, let me show you some gameplay of the actual racing itself, because race and team race are basically the same type of game mode, but with different competitors, right? You have, you know, one person versus the whole team. So anyways, let's get into some gameplay here. As you can see, the gameplay is kind of awesome. It feels fast. It's got pretty good sense of speed here. There's a lot of like little mechanics that add a lot of depth to the way the gameplay plays out. So if you just want to like drive and race, you could do that. You can do that in time attack, but the actual like racing and team fighting is sort of where the game is at. So with that, let me just introduce the ecosystem, which is basically the mechanics of how you fight. So let's talk about this bar that's at the top. This is your echo bar. On the left side, you have your sync. On the right side, you have your entropy. The sync is what's gained when you do certain actions. Like if you have perfect shifts, or if you're driving above a certain speed, you're gaining that sync. That resource is then used when you use a shield to block from someone else trying to knock you out, or if you use a speed burst, you use that sync, and whatever amount that you use on that sync, it gets converted into entropy, which is on the right side of the bar. Entropy is used to knock people out. So basically what you're trying to do is earn sync, use the sync, convert it into the entropy, and then use the entropy to knock people out using your strike mechanic. The mechanics are actually pretty deep, and it doesn't just stop there. The control of the car is not just a simple joystick. You actually control the car using both sticks. The left stick actually controls the steering of the car. The right stick controls the drift angle. So for example, if you're taking a turn and you're going a little too fast, but you need to drift the corner, use the right stick to control the drift angle and make yourself around the corner. The left stick obviously is more straight roads or slight turns. You can use it for that stuff. And obviously the best drivers in this game are going to be the people that can master all of the mechanics and put it all together within the run. Now, let me talk to you about overdrive. Overdrive is when you've gained enough sync and you used it and turned it into enough entropy to where your entropy bar is completely full. When it's completely full, you have the ability to activate overdrive. Overdrive basically makes you invulnerable and allows you to knock out as many players as you can run into while you're using it. Overdrive continuously accelerates you, and it only stops when you hit a barrier and explode your car. But on the way to that, if you could stay alive, you can take out a ton of racers if you're pretty good at driving and not hitting the barriers. So with that, enter the overdrive challenge. The overdrive challenge is exactly that. You're just constantly in overdrive and you have to last as long as you possibly can. It's sort of a survival type mode, and it's actually pretty fun. You can see some gameplay of it here. I'm just dying pretty quickly because it's hard to not hit the walls sometimes, especially when you just first start out and you're not really that good at the game. Apologize about my driving. Anyway, that is the overdrive challenge, and that's what overdrive is, sort of your ultimate ability essentially. All right, a score challenge is actually sort of like a mini tournament. You basically have a short tournament or a medium-sized tournament or a long tournament, basically 4 races, 5 races, or 6 races. The game keeps track of how many points you get each race, and then obviously rewards you at the end. Now, doing all of these sort of single player experiences, you're unlocking cosmetics for cars, you're unlocking tracks, you're unlocking visual customizations, things like that. So that's basically what you're doing. But score challenge is essentially the same type of racing where you're battling against the AI, but it's just you, one racer. It's not a team race. It's basically a tournament over the course of a few races, basically 4 to 6. Now, checkpoints is also another game mode that you can do. This is a single player, single experience. There's no AI on the race with you. You basically get to pick a driver, you get to pick a course, and then you go out there and you do it. You just have to get to the checkpoints without missing it. Every time you get to a checkpoint, you earn a little bit of time towards your time, and it continues to count down. If you start to crash and you don't get to the next checkpoint in time, your race is over. The goal here is survival. You're trying to survive as long as possible. And I can imagine people who are really good at this game making those checkpoint runs super long. Now all this stuff is going to have leaderboards on it, but checkpoints are just another way to survive. Now the last thing is time attack. It's exactly what it says. You go to a specific course with a specific car and you time attack it. There's not really anything tricky here. All of the boost and the echo and all that stuff's all part of the mechanics of the driving, so all of that stuff's involved in the time attacks. You can go out and just literally time attack any of the races you want. I want to show you something in the time attack here. You can go to the race itself. Here are all the tracks that you have available to you. So these are like the different biomes. You have this one up here, which I have not unlocked yet. You got this one here. This is sort of like the forest track. So there's different layouts for all of these things. You've got these that I haven't unlocked, obviously. But then there's this Sky Road Desert here, which is really cool looking. You know, obviously the environments here are pretty stunning. And then you have the Neo Ray, which is more of like the city type stuff, the cityscape stuff. Those are your basic like areas. So there's 8 in each one. You can see there's 8 different layouts basically in each biome, and you have 4 different locations. So 8 times 4 is what, 32. So you have 32 different tracks here that you guys get to try to master, or you can just go to question mark. It'll send you into a random one. That's basically it for the single player side of things. Let's go to multiplayer for a moment here. So for multiplayer, you have online and then you have split screen. The online is not available for this build. It's basically the same racing mechanics that you get throughout the rest of the game, but against other players. And then you have split screen, which is, you know, not a lot of games are coming out with split screen racing, and this one actually adds it as a feature. So you have 2-player, 3-player, and 4-player split screen, which is kind of nice to do. Obviously, the people that are being added as the split screen opponents are not going to get any achievements or unlockables or anything for their accounts. This is just, you know, if you want to do a little bit of couch co-op, some racing for fun. Now, before I get into customization, let's talk about the gallery for a minute. The gallery is basically your vault, basically everything that you're unlocking. So you have screamers, you have vehicles, tracks, tournaments. These are actually the sort of images that you get to unlock. The Green Reapers team logo, that's unlocked through some campaign. You have this stuff here. It's just all of this artwork here that you can unlock. There's some vehicles. It tells you exactly at the bottom what you need to do in order to unlock this stuff. But this is where your, you know, your not achievements, but you know, your unlockables. This is where you get to see all of that stuff. So you have vehicles, tracks, tournaments, sponsors, all of that stuff. And that's just the artwork. So this is just like stuff that has some artwork for you here. And then there's also the soundtrack stuff. So every time you unlock a new soundtrack, whether it be playing or, you know, in the teams or in the menus, this is basically what you have here. So you got menu and team, a bunch of different soundtracks that you can unlock. As far as the videos go, these first ones that I unlocked were actually the cutscenes that were in the actual campaign story. I'm not 100% that all of these will come from that, but it seems like that's where these are going to come from. So anyway, this is just like your sort of your vault, essentially. All right, and one last thing before I go, I just want to let you guys know you can pre-order Screamer today with the link in the description down below. Click that link, go pre-order it. It comes out March 26th. That's just in a few weeks, man. That's like a month away. You guys can go do it. Go pre-order it right now. Thank you so much for watching. And if you have any questions about this, send me a DM on Instagram, Twitter, or Discord. I read every single message that comes my way. Thank you so much for watching. Trigger out.